All right. So for my last problem, I tackled the weave problem, which is basically an array problem where you have to identify the elements and then be able to manipulate the output of the elements of another array as you use these as inputs. So we start off the problem by having array 1 and array 2 here, and the objective is basically to alternate each digit. So it would go the first digit, then the second digit, the first digit of A1, and then the first digit of A2, and the second digit of A1, and so on until you fill out the array, all into a single array. In the case that you have an array that is longer than that is, you have an uneven array, so one array is longer than the other, then like B1, B2, then you would do the same thing where it goes first digit, second digit until you fill out the array, and then you would tack on the final however many digits that you have. So we start out by constructing the final array, which is the one that we're going to return in the very end, and it's going to be the length of the two arrays summed together, since we're basically just adding two arrays together in like a specific fashion. And then you would also create an integer called smaller array, which would be the length of whichever array is smaller. So in the case of B1, B2, it would be B2, so a smaller array would be 3 in that case. The next for loop that we have is essentially the loop that runs through and creates the alternating array, such as I times 2 and I times 2 plus 1. So essentially it's saying array final 0 equals the first element of array 1, and then it would go run through array final I times 2 plus 1, which if I is 0, then it will be 1. And so then it will then it will make the second element of the first element of the second array, the second element of the final array, and this repeats until it reaches the smaller array, which would be like right about here. And then you would have consumed both elements, and you would only both arrays for the shorter array length, and then you'd have to tack on the longer ones. So this for loop actually completes A1 and A2, but you would also need you need more code basically to finish the rest of the array in B1, which is where we come to this if-else statement, where essentially this is saying that array 2.length is equal to smaller array. So if this is true, then we go to this for loop where it essentially tacks on the rest of the larger array onto the final array through this for loop and this array final I plus smaller array. So this else statement is basically just if in the other case that array 1 is actually longer than smaller array, in which case then it would run through the exact same thing, but it would do it for the other array before it finally returns and we complete the entire process. For this problem, my biggest gripe was actually surprisingly enough getting this equation. When I was trying to make this array, I forgot that arrays start at 0 and then go 1, 2, 3. So I kept trying to add 1 here, and then I kept trying to do all this fancy things, and it kept messing me up. So it took an upsetting amount of time before I went back into the slides and realized, oh wait, that's how arrays work. The second thing that was pretty difficult was realizing I actually needed to use smaller array when I was trying to tack on the final elements into the final array. But eventually I realized you just have to, the smaller array is the amount of things that are already consumed, so if you just add that to I, then you're basically just taking whatever is rest in the larger array. This was definitely the more annoying problem out of the other two that I tried, that I did for this portfolio submission. So when you run it, outproduces the correct numbers or the correct arrays. So luckily I was able to finish it in time. But anyways, thank you for listening. I'm sorry that these ran a bit longer. Hope you have a good day.